Hello, this is week 14. And this week, you're going to learn about routines and procedures. And those of you who are already in the classroom know routines and procedures are really important. Children like routine, they like to know what to expect next. It gives children a sense of security when they know what to expect next. And I've already harped on this when it came to creating a classroom schedule that children could understand, one that had pictures and so on and so forth. So you need a starting the day procedure. And I always recommend if you're teaching pre-K and kindergarten, have some table centers, just a basket with whatever on a couple of tables, and children know they come in and they will be at the table working those table centers until you ring a bell or ring your chime or whatever it is, and then they can put them away and go sit on the carpet and start their day. In my first grade classroom, I always had something for them to do in the morning. They knew they had it was just a real quick worksheet, and they would come in and work on that and then put it in the basket. And when it was time for carpet time. So just have something to get children started, because a lot of times you need a little bit of time at the door. So maybe a parent wants to talk to you, or another teacher needs to talk to you, or you have to say something to a student. You don't want the whole class around you at that point. Everyone needs a seat. They all need to know where they have their own spot. And that goes for having a cubby or a locker as well. I already talked about the schedule. I'm not going to bore you by doing that again. But looking at a first grade classroom here, they need to know what happens when a pencil breaks. Because, for one thing, you can't have everybody getting up every single time when their pencil breaks in the middle of the lesson. Say you're standing in front of the class teaching, and someone breaks their pencil. Well, next thing you know, they're up at the pencil sharpener, grind, grind, grind. Well, before you know it, that's so much fun, three or four more up there waiting for a turn to grind. So in my classroom, I would have a tin that just said sharp pencils, and it had a picture of a sharp pencil, and then I had a tin next to it that said broken pencil, and it had a sad little broken pencil on it. And they knew if they broke their pencil in the middle of a lesson, they would put their pencil in the broken container, and then they would pick up a sharpened one. And I was the one that sharpened them at the end of the day. After everyone went home, I actually had an electric one behind my desk, and it took me all of 3 seconds to get them all sharpened. So, same thing when you can't find crayons. There's nothing more interrupting than when you're trying to teach a lesson to a small group. Say you're at your reading table and you got your reading group over there, and Susie comes up, so, teacher, I can't find that red crayon. Well, you know what? I had the three before me rule. You have to ask three friends before me when you can't find something. And chances are one of your friends is going to have a red crayon that they will let you use. Children need to understand what they're supposed to do, no matter what, have a procedure. They need to know how to line up. In my classroom, we lined up by name. They were all alphabetized by first name. And if we had more than one first name that was the same, we'd do by second letter. Sometimes we had to go to third letter. It was a great way for them to learn ABC order. You need to practice your drills. They need to know exactly what to do, because it really cuts down on their anxiety. You need to practice what you want them to do at an assembly. Nothing's more embarrassing than marching your class into the auditorium and trying to get them all seated and quiet, and the principal's staring at you, and your children don't know what to do. Practice in the classroom. We would have practices when I knew we were going to go to the auditorium later that day. We would have one or two practices on how to go in the auditorium and how to sit down, and what I expected them to do while we were in there. You also need a procedure for, if you get sick, what happens if you have to throw up or whatever. Yeah, so talk about what you want them to do. Those are just a few of the procedures. That teachers have procedures all day long. And then, of course, there are transitions. Transitions shouldn't happen too often, but children should know what to do during a transition and what you expect them to do during a transition. So this is something that you have to teach. No one's born knowing all this. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful week. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to set up a Zoom. Bye bye.